Imagine finding a letter written 3,000 years ago. You can see the handwriting, you can count the symbols, but after decades of the world's best linguists, cryptographers, and even AI systems trying to read it, nobody has. Not a single word. We've decoded Egyptian hieroglyphs. We've cracked Viking runes. We've even translated languages with 0 living speakers. But Linear A has survived every single attack, ancient, modern, and artificial. And here's what makes it even stranger. We know a language that looks almost identical, a language that we can read. And yet, that wasn't enough. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this script might be impossible to decode and why some researchers now believe that may have been intentional. It's 1,900. A British archaeologist named Arthur Evans starts digging on the island of Crete. What he finds completely rewrites history. Beneath the earth, a massive palace, colorful frescoes, running water, a civilization so advanced it had plumbing before ancient Rome. He calls them the Minoans, named after the mythological king Minos. And carved into hundreds of clay tablets, stone seals, and golden rings, a writing system nobody had ever seen before. Evans names it Linear A. He's fascinated. He spends decades trying to decode it. He fails. He dies in 1941, the mystery unsolved. Here's the problem. Linear B and Linear A share about 80% of the same symbols, same shapes, same lines, same curves. So researchers thought, if we use the same sound values from Linear B and apply them to Linear A, we should be able to read it. They tried. The result was gibberish. Absolute, complete nonsense. And that revealed the brutal truth. Linear A and Linear B look similar, but they probably sound completely different. The symbols might share shapes, but represent different sounds entirely. It's like if English and Japanese happened to use the same alphabet, but every letter meant something else. Now, you might think, okay, let's just find more examples, more text, more tablets. Here's the problem. We've only found about 1,500 inscriptions of Linear A, ever. Across everything, tablets, seals, pottery, jewelry. Compare that to Egyptian hieroglyphs, where archaeologists have found millions of examples. Or cuneiform, where there are hundreds of thousands of texts. 1,500 inscriptions. Many of them are only 2 to 5 symbols long. Imagine trying to learn English if the only examples you had were receipts, short ones, with no context. That's what linguists are working with. But wait, we do know some things about the Minoans, and what we know makes the mystery even deeper. These weren't primitive people. Minoan civilization was thriving between 2,700 and 1,450 BC. Their palace at Knossos covered 150,000 square feet. They had multi-story buildings, advanced drainage, indoor plumbing, and trade routes spanning the entire Mediterranean. They traded with Egypt, with Mesopotamia, with the Levant, and somehow none of these trading partners ever wrote about them in a language we can read. Or if they did, we haven't found it. No bilingual text, no Rosetta Stone equivalent, nothing. Beat. The one thing that would make decoding possible, a text written in 2 languages, has never been found. And here's what nobody talks about. Some researchers believe it may never exist, because the Minoans may have deliberately kept their language isolated. Okay? So what might Linear A actually be? Let me walk you through the 3 leading theories. Theory 1, it's a completely isolated language family. Some linguists believe Minoan, the spoken language behind Linear A, has no relatives, no cousins, no ancestors we've found. If true, it would mean an entire branch of human language evolved, flourished, and disappeared without leaving a single descendant. A language that existed nowhere else on Earth. Theory 2, it's related to languages spoken today. A controversial but growing group of researchers believes Minoan may be connected to languages from Anatolia, modern Turkey, or possibly to early Semitic languages from the Middle East. If this is true, we might eventually crack it from that angle. But so far, every attempt has failed. Theory 3, it was never meant to be a full language. This is the most unsettling possibility. Some archaeologists now suggest that linear A wasn't used to record speech at all, but rather for administrative counting, ritual ceremonies, or symbolic purposes. In other words, it might not encode a language, it might encode something we don't even have a category for. Something that a modern linguist would have no framework to decode. And then things got even weirder in 2023. Researchers at MIT and other institutions have begun training AI models on undeciphered scripts. These systems have successfully identified grammatical structures in texts that humans couldn't crack for decades. They pointed the same tools at linear A. The AI found patterns, rhythmic structures, repetitions that might indicate grammar or ritual. But here's what it couldn't do: connect those patterns to any known language. The grammar might be real, the phonetics remain invisible. It's like an AI listening to music and being able to identify the beat, but having no idea what instrument is playing or what key it's in. So we know something is there, we just don't know what. Think about what's locked inside those 1,500 inscriptions. The names of Minoan kings or queens, their prayers, their trade agreements, their laws, maybe their myths, maybe their fears. Entire generations of people who built one of the most sophisticated civilizations of the ancient world, and we can't hear a single word they said. It's not just an archaeological mystery, it's a human one. Somewhere in those clay tablets, someone wrote down something that mattered to them, something they wanted to preserve. And 3,000 years later, we're staring at it and we still can't answer back. The last Minoan speaker died sometime around 1,400 BC. No one mourned the loss of the language because no one realized it was the last time it would ever be spoken. And somewhere on a shelf in a museum in Heraclean Crete, that language is still waiting. Now, I want to know, what do you think is hidden in linear A? A census? A religion? A name? Drop it in the comments. Because honestly, at this point, your guess is as good as any expert's. If you want to go deeper on ancient unsolved mysteries like this, I've got a video right up here that'll completely change the way you think about lost languages. Subscribe if you haven't, because we're just getting started.